Dude, this is remember? Okay. Remember last week when I asked the AI about you?
Yeah. Oh,
and it gave
weird.
me a bunch
I
of
didn't
stuff?
Like that. That's why I don't like this AI. You should fire it.
It can't find me.
Well, yeah, you don't have a YouTube channel and social media pages like mine.
Ah, true. Yeah. So it didn't really
It
know
got
that
me-
much about you. It just like combed the internet real fast and was like,
It-
"Oh
it
yeah,
just
here we
combed
got
my
a database."
It combed my YouTube bio, my retired channel's
Yeah.
YouTube bio.
All right.
Which, I mean, that channel had a presence of 5 years, so it makes sense.
Here's how we're doing it. All right.
Here's how we're doing
it. You see me getting ready? I just got home. I got up, did everything that I possibly could get done in the city before hopping on a train at Penn Station, got off in Poughkeepsie, drove my car up to Albany, dropped Holland off at her car, made sure we both were headed out in the right direction, feeling good about ourselves, got all the way up here after rush hour traffic, and now I'm just jumping into the podcast. I got to go to the gym after this. There's a checklist of things. I have responsibilities. I'm a responsible
I just got home too.
grown adult. No, you didn't, Odie. We know you've just been goofing off, talking about movies all day.
I was at work.
Talking about movies
not
all
true.
day? That's not your job
No.
yet, Odie. Don't jump
I wish
the gun.
that was my job. One day.
Here's the thing, though. I came home.
Yes.
I've got this lovely linen shirt. Now, a few episodes ago, I was railing on linen shirts. And then I saw this linen shirt. And I bought it. And it's comfy as hell.
Yeah.
And now I get to wear this beautiful linen shirt on the podcast. You know what I'm sipping? I'm sipping on
an audio format.
I'm sipping on this lovely little, like, effervescent pink drink right here, right? You know what it is? It's watermelon juice and non-alcoholic champagne. I call it a Womosa. Womosa, baby. We got a linen shirt.
Sparkling water.
We got a Womosa. I just got back from the Sleep Token concert. We're riding high. It's Cloud 9. It's season 3. We're hitting it off. Hit it off. Odie, cue the music.
I don't want to.
Odie. All right.
There's about to be a rebellion.
Odie, what's going on? What's going on? Let's talk about it. Let's talk it out. Why don't you want to start the music, Odie?
I don't want to start the music.
Odie, it's season 3. This is
because every time you ask me to start the music, you put the wrong music in, and it makes me look silly.
I don't put the wrong music in. You
Yes,
flipped
you do.
the switch. Your switch is
No.
right there. I can see it in
You
the
do it.
background.
I don't. That's a bag.
That's not a bag. That's a switch, baby.
Yeah, you do this to me every time. And I get tons of emails saying you look silly for not playing the right music.
You do look silly because you don't play it.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
All right, turn the music on. Good job. Was it that hard? It wasn't
Yes.
hard. No, it's never
It
been.
was.
It's never been hard. This is. You could have done that the whole time. I don't know why you ever played different music than this music. Right. This is the intro music. Good job, Odie. Season 3. We're off to a great start.
We're doing it. Yeah.
Ahoy! All right.
Mutiny.
You ready to clap?
I'm ready to clap.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Unpop Podcast. I'm your Capitan Todo El Siempre, Kevin Miner. He, him with me as always is...
Odie Matthews, the chef, they, them.
What are you doing?
Cooking up that delicious content.
That's right.
Which I wanted to tell you, speaking of delicious
There's more
content. The Fall Guy is now available on Amazon Prime to rent. And this is the crazy part about it.
It's
I
good.
haven't gone to the theaters to see it yet.
Okay.
I want to see it. It costs $15 to rent, which is $15 more than I'd have to spend at the movie theater.
Oh, so you're going to the movie.
But I kind of want to just rent it and watch it at home because I just don't want to go to the theater.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know what, Odie? You do whatever you want, baby.
Well, because Furiosa comes out this weekend. So I'm saving my theater energy for that. I can't go see more than one movie a week, if that, at this point.
When does Furiosa come out tonight?
Tonight.
Oh, so I can go see it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But we're
Yeah,
recording
we should do
today,
that.
so we can't talk about it.
No, talk about it next week.
You want to talk about it next
let's
week?
go see Furiosa this weekend. Hell yeah.
I can go see. I think I have Monday off, so I'm gonna go to a Monday early showing.
I'm gonna go whenever I feel like it, because you know what? I'm an adult making adult decisions. Hold on, let me put on these cool sunglasses.
No, take those off. I don't like those.
Yeah. All right.
Wow. Yeah.
This is great.
Oh, also, Ghost. The band Ghost has a concert coming to theaters.
Coming to
in
theaters?
June. Yeah, it's
cool.
like a concert video.
Yeah.
I got us tickets because I knew this is actually all leading up into something, but because Nate's such a big fan of Ghost, I got us movie tickets to that. But getting into what you did this weekend, guess
not weekend. I just did it yesterday. It was Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Thursday.
This
whole thing's messing you up. You know what? Hit the theme music again.
No.
Hit the theme music again.
No, we don't need to do
we don't need to do it. Okay. All right, fine.
Guess who has been a massive Sleep Token fan and now wants to see them in concert and won't stop talking about them?
Who?
Well, I said guess, so. This is where you guess.
Shia LaBeouf.
How did you know my best friend Shia LaBeouf, who I talk to every day?
I knew it was Shia LaBeouf.
And is a bad person.
Every time you tell me to guess who is doing something, and I guess Shia LaBeouf, I get it right. He's
we have the same
doing
birthday.
so much. You and Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah.
No way.
And Gene Wilder. And Peter Dinklage.
You're Odie LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Odie LaBeouf.
No.
LaBeouf
Nate
Odie
has been a huge Sleep Token fan lately and wants to go see them in concert.
Oh, cool.
And is a big fan of their music.
Oh, great.
Now, after I've been begging them to get into Sleep Token or Bad Omens,
That's
I was
great.
like, either one. And now they're no longer sleeping on Sleep Token.
Wow.
Cue the laugh track.
Let's talk about stuff now. Okay. You know, I should have come in stronger. All right, season 3, I'm grabbing the helm's wheel. Here we go. All right. So,
I thought that was a good
Odie,
story,
what do you
but
think?
okay.
That was okay.
Fuck myself.
It was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
I'm
It's
walking
like the Barbie movie. It was fine. It was fine.
I'm out of here.
I'm glad Nate's into Sleep Token. I'm glad we got stuff going on this weekend. We're both going to see Furiosa. We're not going to go see Fall Guy in theaters. Well, Fall Guy's going to be on streaming soon enough anyway, and I don't feel like I need to see it in theaters the same way I need to see Furiosa.
Yeah, Furiosa is a theater movie, 100% all the way through.
100%. Odie, what do you think about vegan restaurants?
Oh.
Hit me. Quick.
You know, honestly, not bad. Some of the vegan dishes are pretty solid.
Yeah.
And if it's gross, just don't get it.
Dude, I went to 2 banger vegan restaurants in the past 24 hours in New York City.
Wow.
I forgot.
That makes sense.
Love New York City for all the access to delicious things in like a small area, right? Like I don't have to walk far to get the stuff that I want. Not only that, I was close to Times Square the whole time. We were staying at the Hotel St. James. It's like one of the oldest hotels in New York City. I think it's the second oldest hotel in all of New York City, which is kind of creepy. A little bit creepy.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
We got into the elevator, and the elevator, like, it just sounded tired. Like the ropes outside. Like, you could hear the stuff, like, it creaked and groaned a little bit as it started moving. It's got, like, wood panels. And then you just hear the rope on the outside of the elevator as we're going up to the 10th floor going, woo.
Oh, you didn't stay in 1408?
Woo. No, we didn't. But it was, but we're going up to the 10th floor, and it's just like, oh, this is creepy. And then Holland was convinced, and you remember, Holland actually was staying at the creepy place. Remember, we were talking about this last year. She was at that creepy place on the campground where, like, it was like this hotel off to the side, and they had like the stolen baby channel or whatever. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Holland's all, Holland. Like, I think some people are just connected to like the supernatural in a way like that. You know, I'm not. I lived in one of the most haunted houses in Saratoga, and straight up, everybody that came through my house, even people that just spent a night, they were like, I woke up and saw a man. I felt this presence. I did that. There was this weird sound.
You're just chilling.
I was like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about, and I do not believe in ghosts. Like, 100%.
I've never seen that.
But the thing is, I'm the first person
in
who will
ghosts
die in a horror movie. Like, straight up, if we're in a horror movie setting, like the beginning of a horror movie, we hear the first noise off in the like we're hanging out in a cemetery, and somebody's like, what was that weird noise that I've never heard before? I'll be like, I'll check it out. Like, just gone. Like, and I'm either here's the thing. I'm either disappearing and coming back at the end as the funny guy who survived, even though people don't care that much about him as a character, or I die. That's it. Those are the 2 options for me, man. I don't have a lot of main character energy, I don't think.
I think I'm third to last, depending on how big the group is.
I think you might survive. You might be one of those people who survives but is maimed.
You know what I would do in a horror movie situation?
What?
Leave immediately.
You would leave?
Immediately.
Okay,
no matter
cool.
what. If creepy sound in the wood, creepy house, creepy stay in the night.
Now, hold on.
People outside, get in the car.
Here's the thing. That's usually the second person to die. Because what do?
No.
They go, I'm out of here, and they panic, and they start running through the house or running away, and then they turn that one corner, and boom, Michael Myers. Boom, Jason. Boom, Freddy. Like, they're there for you. They're waiting.
Yeah, but see, there's a big key thing here.
Is it that you have a key?
Yeah.
Aha! I have a key.
See, I wouldn't be, like, scared if I just, like, heard something in the woods and, like, saw a figure poke out from a tree. I'd just be like, no thanks.
Yeah. And then you
just drive away. I'll just leave.
But they might kill you, the figure in the woods.
Yeah, but, my car can go decently fast. I think I'm willing to risk it
Great.
for the biscuit, kind of.
Great. All right, so vegan restaurants.
Yes. Of course.
So we went to a PS Kitchen, which is banger. Here, I think vegan restaurants get a lot of hate, even though they shouldn't, right? Like, straight up, I feel like a lot of people just, like, they'll be like, oh, vegans, they have an agenda, whatever. Like, and they'll poo-poo it and be like, oh, I can't have anything that doesn't have meat in it. Or, like, like, there's a lot of people who have that opinion. I think a lot of people have come around on vegan restaurants. It might be a little balanced out now, but, like, I still feel like people have not embraced the variety that a good vegan restaurant can bring to your diet. Like, we had maitake mushroom wings. We had vegan crab cakes. I know that they're not crab cakes, but it's like,
I know
it has all the flavor. It tastes like crab cakes. And as someone who eats crab cakes and vegan crab cakes, I got to tell you, I like the vegan ones more. They're less oily, and they make me feel better after I eat them. And then we had vegan chili cheese fries, which is like a whole mess of a contradiction. but it was amazing. It's like that's one of the ones where I'm like, maybe just name it something different. Like, it's not, there is neither chili nor cheese on that, sir. Like,
too much.
That's like it's just fake. It's vegan, like, but vegan chili cheese fries sounds better than vegan Beyond Meat ground chili likeness with fake cheese curd. Like, that doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, it doesn't roll off the tongue quite as much.
But then we went to another place today called Le Botaniste, which, of course, I already love because it's just written in proper French on the outside. And we go in, and I immediately... Here's the other thing I like. I walk into a place that has, like, vegan options, and I still have to scour the whole menu. I walk into a place that's just vegan, and for some reason, I can, like, point at the thing that I'm like, that right now.
Immediately, you
right?
just know.
Yeah, like, I got a tutti pasta salad thing. Like, it was delicious. It had, like, it had hummus in it. It was
Sounds
just
scrumptious.
Amazing. I just love, and then I had mushroom coffee with it, and I had a quinoa and peanut butter cookie. Like, it doesn't sound good, but it's good. Trust me.
Sounds interesting.
It's a cookie, baby. Cookies are good. You know how I am. Oatmeal raisin, quinoa peanut butter.
I don't like oatmeal raisin.
Weird cookies for me all the way. Weird cookies all the way every day. 100%.
I like normal cookies.
But anyway, so we went down. We went to Sleep Token. What do you know about Sleep Token?
Oh.
Since Goose is obsessed with them and has obviously told you all of their lore.
Oh, no. I just like their music. I haven't really looked into anything like that. I know they're
lore, Odie.
I know they're from the UK.
Uh-huh.
I know they wear masks.
Uh-huh.
Next question.
What is the deity they worship?
It's a great question. Next question.
All right, great. Which number is the bass player?
4.
Oh, good. What about the drummer?
2.
Which makes the guitarist?
1.
Nope.
I'm just kidding. It's 3.
And then the singer is?
1.
No.
I don't know. I'm guessing here.
It's Vessel. It's Vessel.
This whole thing has been a guess. 4 and 2 were just shots in the dark.
You got it, man. Well, you got it right. A band okay, so here's how Sleep Token comes about. In 2016, Thread the Needle, When the Bow Breaks, and another track get released. It's like a little 3-song demo, right? A couple years later, we start getting like Calcutta, Nazareth, and Jericho. These are like, and in these you can hear Sleep Token kind of forming their sound. Like, it's developing. It's not mature yet. It doesn't have the full sound that it has now. But, like, it's definitely ambient. It's kind of sexy. It's a little bluesy. It's kind of gothy, gospel, you know? Like, and what's really interesting about back then is Jericho, Calcutta, and Nazareth are all, like, Christian-type references. So when Sleep Token first starts out, I'm like, oh, what are these weird Christian references that are going on here? But, like, Jericho, they're saying, or it might have been Nazareth. I think it's Nazareth. But he says, like, I'll see you when the wrath comes. Like, just really, like, interesting, just interesting imagery, right? And, like, just lines like, you taste like new flesh. Like, just really good stuff coming out. And then they do a cover of Hey Ya, right? They do a cover.
Hey,
yeah. They release a single called Jaws that comes out in the interim, and then I think they did one other cover, and then Sundowning comes out, and this is the first concept album that they have.
I love
It's about sundowning syndrome. You can actually hear the sound of the album, like, kind of balances a little bit of, like, this beautiful sound with, like, a feral nature, right? And sundowning syndrome is when animals, or sometimes old people in general, they become more feral as the sun goes down, right? So the concept is that the album's getting more feral, but it explores this relationship that Vessel has with an entity who came to him supposedly in a dream and calls itself Sleep. Now, Vessel wants so much to be asleep forever, but knows that in order to properly, like, worship Sleep, he needs to stay awake and fulfill his duty to worship Sleep. So, like, there's, like, which puts him in this weird state of, like, wanting sleep but not being able to get it. He must stay awake and vigilant in order to preach about sleep. This is the concept of Sleep Token, right? And then you've got the other members that are coming in. They don't necessarily have, like, jobs yet, but I would say, like, Vessel is one, right? You were kind of right. Vessel's number one. And then it's 2, 3, 4. So those are the members of the band. That's Sleep Token. Sundowning explores that feral nature, and you can hear at the end in the song Bloodsport, he says, I made loving you a blood sport I can't win, which is like, hey, this thing's going to, like, destroy me, but this is what I've done to myself. I've chosen this. Then This Place Will Become Your Tomb comes out, I think, 2 years later, 2021.
It's another good one.
So This Place Will Become Your Tomb comes out. They're all good. There's nothing. I haven't heard anything bad from them yet, right?
I like all of their albums.
Yeah. Sundowning Deluxe, I should mention. We get a Billie Eilish cover. We get I Want to Dance with Somebody, Shelter.
I Want to Dance with Somebody.
And we get the Bloodsport acoustic from The Room Below. They call it The Room Below. Really cool. It's just Vessel playing piano, having a great time.
Good.
It's amazing.
I love that one.
So then we get into This Place Will Become Your Tomb. A lot of water references, a lot of talk about, like, a lot of, like, alluding to, like, sleep. Sleep kind of takes on a gender in that he keeps saying she, her. Like, sleep is obviously to some degree or another, like, a lover character in this mythology, right? Because this is all a narrative. It's a story. So, like, as the story is expanding, This Place Will Become Your Tomb. The first track, Atlantic, is, you know, it kind of forecasts, like, this post-apocalyptic future, maybe something that Vessel's seeing. And then as we develop through that, he's talking about sleep and maybe how close he could be connected to it if he was isolated, right? There are coordinates that were, like, kind of like Easter egged into some of the promotional stuff for that album. And the coordinates end up leading to the most isolated place on Earth, which is in the middle of the ocean. So there's all your imagery getting wrapped up. There's even a beautiful song called Telomeres, which is, you know, those are water bears. They supposedly will outlive all of us, right? And then the album ends with Missing Limbs, and there's almost this other character that comes in. Whether still here or not, Vessel is addressing Sleep, is addressing this lover character that he has, and then he says, like, I still remember what you meant to him. and like he's referencing this other dude, or maybe another version of himself that exists in his mind or something, and he's lamenting a little bit of like a separation between himself and Sleep. And then we get the wonderful, huge, epic breakout album that is Take Me Back to Eden, where Vessel comes in kind of addressing this relationship that he has with Sleep and saying like, hey, you've got me in a chokehold, like straight up, like, when we were made, like you and I, this is an us thing. We were like branches in a flood. Like we're just flowing together. We're caught up. And Chokehold continues through the album. The summoning, he's trying to bring Sleep more viscerally to him, like more into his realm. And then the album continues on as he addresses his relationship with himself and the rest of the world, eventually having the song like, Are You Really Okay? Do You Wish That You Loved Me? Do You Wish That You Love Me? I actually, personal theory, I think Do You Wish That You Love Me, he wrote to himself, because there's a lot of like he at one point is like, hey, do you think we could wake up as different people? Like you, the person, the me that I'm talking to in the mirror. Like I really do think that's it's more of a self-reflective thing.
I love that song.
It's beautiful. And then that flows through. We get Rain. We get Take Me Back to Eden, the title track, where he's kind of addressing. He said, like, my, those eyes like fire. I'm a winged insect. You're a funeral pyre. Like, hey, look, I'm going to be drawn to you, period. Like, that's how that goes. And then we end the album with Euclid. And what's really cool is he ties up the Take Me Back to Eden lyrics by saying it was no accident at the end of Take Me Back to Eden, the title track, right? Which was at the beginning of Chokehold, right? It was no accident that we met. Like, and he's tying that up. But then he ties up all three albums at the end of Euclid, where the last lines of Euclid are the beginning of the like second verse, kind of like it's like the second verse portion of The Night Does Not Belong to God. So Holland thinks that this was a trilogy and whatever comes next is separate. I think the story will continue, but I think she's right. This was a trilogy of albums that tells a story.
Great trilogy.
Right?
Yeah.
And it kind of wraps itself back up. It comes full circle on itself. It says, hey, the whites of your eyes turn black in the lowlights. In turning divine, we tangle endlessly. Like lovers entwined, unknown for the last time, you will not be mine, so give me the night. Right? So, like, at the end of it, he's saying, like, look, I accept that, like, you're never going to be completely mine. So give me the night. I want the night. Like, which is like a crazy thing to do, but poetically it's so beautiful. And we've taken this crazy journey through these three main albums, right? So it's almost like if you go back, you look at like When the Levee Breaks and Thread the Needle, they're kind of setting things up. There's almost like this ritual nature to it. And then you get into Jericho, Nazareth, Calcutta, and those are still kind of building. Like the mythology itself is broiling. We get Hey Ya, which ventures into the mainstream, and then we go into this trilogy of albums which tell individually separate stories, but put together tell one longer story, like three parts of a story, right? Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Which I think, like, this is the best summary that I could give somebody who either is like just kind of into Sleep Token, like just getting into it, or into it, right? Is that there's three albums, they tell three separate stories, but they're all part of one larger narrative that's been crafted over time.
Yeah. I like that. I didn't really know all that, to be honest.
Well, and what's cool and kind of solidifies this, I think a little bit more, is their set list right now. They're opening up with The Night Does Not Belong to God, and they're closing with Euclid. So they're actually taking that second verse and then that last portion, those last lyrics, and they're tying it all together. And not only that, they broke the set was almost broken up by album, because there was sundowning songs, like I think they did like 4. And then they did, I think, 4 or 5 songs off of This Place Will Become Your Tomb. And then they did 4 songs off of Take Me Back to Eden and finished off with Euclid. Now, what's really cool that I love about Sleep Token is here and there they'll kind of just drop little hints about like what they're into in mainstream culture. Like right before they played, I want to say it was right before Atlantic, maybe. He played the riff to Childish Gambino's Redbone on the piano. Like, so I was like, oh, snap. Vessel's playing Redbone right now. Are we going to get a cover?
How interesting for Redbone. Like,
yeah. Really cool. Huh. And they've covered Hallelujah live. They've covered Hey Ya. They've covered Billie Eilish. So I love that, like, there's these different influences that they kind of let us in on. I also love another thing that I think people who haven't seen them live should know is, like, they don't talk to the audience. Like, they don't come out and say, how's everybody doing? Like, the music just starts. And they just play songs and then they leave. They're done. They bow. They'll like, wave. They'll like, the bass player 4 is like very charismatic, very like performative and interactive, right? So there's a lot going on there. Vessel kind of does the thing that I love the most about Vessel. He does like what I could only describe as like a nerdy kid goblin dance on stage. Like it's very much like if you look it up, it looks like he's dancing around a cauldron in the woods. Like it's very witchy, very like someone who's getting into like, I don't know, LARPing or something like that. Like it's very much like he's summoning something. But he does it for like so many different music breaks, and there's like a skip to it. It's almost playful. It's really fun, and I call it a goblin dance because it's fun.
I love that.
He looks like a little goblin on stage.
Yeah.
But one thing that I would say for anybody who's getting into Sleep Token is like, definitely, I think it's worth it to at least once listen through all of their songs in chronological order, because when you do that, you get a really good sense of how it's developed and where it might go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool stuff, right?
I when I'm editing Sleep Token, I have 4 or 5 artists that I'll just shuffle or play their music depending on like how it's ranked.
Yeah.
And Sleep Token is mainly one of the ones that I constantly go back to for that, because it is great to it's just great to have it there.
Yeah, the
like
music's
it's the
great.
Perfect. Like
it's melodic, it's bluesy, it's sexy. Here's another really crazy thing. So this tour specifically, like I've seen them 3 times over the course of the past 3 years, right? So I saw them 2022, 2023, and now 2024. In just those 3 years, we went from 150 people seeing them to about 2,000 seeing them to sold out Radio City Music Hall. In 3 years, successively. And they only ever bring one other artist on a bill with them. Like they have not
really,
when it's their bill. They played with AA Williams, who I'm pretty sure was doing some of the backing vocals for them when they played at Palladium, like the backing track vocals. And then they played with Empire State Bastard, and both of those bands notably are from the UK. So they're bringing over like one band with them. And then I think they're doing a tour over in Europe, and they only have Bill Murray on with them. Bill Murray, Bilmuri.
Not the guy that
Bill
voiced
Murray,
Garfield?
the actor.
Not Garfield?
No,
Gotcha.
Not Garfield. Although it would be
His famous
amazing
role.
if Bill Murray just came out and did stand-up for like 30
That'd be
minutes.
Awesome.
Right?
That'd be
Before
insane.
Sleep Token. Like, he just came out.
That'd be insanity.
He's like, who's ready for Sleep Token? All right, cool.
I was in that
I don't know
Ghostbusters
anything
movie.
about those guys. It's like I feel
ask
like
me
he
about
would
Ghostbusters.
remain willfully ignorant.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, just to like make it even more fun. He'd be like, well, I'm happy to be here. All of you look very festive.
Yeah.
But yeah,
great.
so they were great. There were merch booths everywhere. There were literally 2 merch booths in the bottom of Radio City Music Hall, 2 on the top, and then 1 on an upper mezzanine level. All of them packed with a line. Like it was insane. Like even if I had gotten in the merch line, I wouldn't have been in to see Sleep Token on time. So it was just like, that's how crazy this is. Like, and it's built up.
That happened to you last time, too.
Well, what happened to me last time was I was in the perfect position in the merch line to watch them. So I was like, okay, I'll deal with this. But then the merch line was about to go behind this big pillar thing. And I was like, I'm not standing behind a pillar during Sleep Token. So I went back up to my seat. But But yeah, no, their merch lines are insane. They do like custom merch for different songs and releases and stuff like that. They're just one of the most interesting bands out there, from the marketing to the narrative that they've crafted to the lore that they have, the masks, the get up, how they keep adding things to it. Like when they added the new backup singers, they just threw them in. They didn't like make an announcement or anything. All of a sudden there were just 3 backup singers, you know? And they are phenomenal. Like their backup singers are so good. Sometimes they hit like these crazy harmonies, and they've even given them a couple moments in songs that don't necessarily have a ton of backup to shine, like some special moments. It's really, really cool. But yeah, like they're just, the way that they've evolved is amazing. I'd love to see more bands doing this. Now, I think it is important to mention that yes, they are 100% anonymous. No, they're not 100% anonymous, because people because the internet is the internet. And much like
people suck,
much like the AI Albatross that we fired did to you, people can dig up info, right? There was someone who kind of like doxed number 4. So like, and this was around the time that like Instagram accounts had to be deleted so that they couldn't trace anything. They probably set everything up separately so that they can do it again, right? So, they reset everything after that happened. So like, his birth certificate has been revealed. Like, people did find it. Most people were just mad that happened, though. Like, not just their fan base. Like, people in the music community were mad.
Because it's a dick move.
Yeah, I think it's a dick move to do that, especially if an artist is anonymous and that's part of their job. Now, one other thing that did happen was in 2022, somebody found a video of Vessel before he was Vessel playing acoustic music for a local radio station in the UK. Now, this still exists somewhere on the internet, and I had a friend send it to me. It's a friend who, like, much like you, if you send me a link, I'm just going to click on it. Like, if you send me a link and you have malware, I probably am getting malware, Odie. That's what I'm saying.
Nice. Good to know.
Yeah. But, like, so I just clicked on it, and then I was like, oh, what's this voice? Oh, shit, that's who this is. And I didn't read anything. I was like, no, I want to keep this anonymous, and, like, I kind of like, I looked at the video and like you can't really see his face anyway. He's got like long emo hair, but you can hear it in his voice. It's the same style of music writing, different band. It's like him and a girl playing acoustic guitar and singing. But so like people have found and ruined it for themselves. I think that's dumb. I think the part of the point of this band is the anonymity, is the masks and the getup and like the dress.
It's like Ghost.
Yeah, it's like
the same.
Ghost. It's
except for Tobias, who's the front man. Who's very in the public.
Yeah.
I mean, he's even been on record to say that, like, the reason everyone else wears masks is because they are hired to play that part.
Yeah.
Like,
that's their character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's better to leave them anonymous. I think it's better for seeing them. Like, years down the line when they come out and we see their faces, or you know, this happened with Slipknot eventually. Like, they all like did an unmasked interview, and it was a big thing. I'm looking forward to that moment. I think that'll be a really cool moment, but I want to wait for it to happen. You know, I want it to happen naturally, organically.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. But getting back into where I kind of started, I love New York City, and I hate New York City, right? Like, it reminds me that there's so many goddamn people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
especially in New York City.
There's so many goddamn people. And I'm saying that as an upstater. I'm just, I'm up here. Like, I realize there's so much less interaction to do. That's why I'm so positive all the time. Like, I'm just waving to people. But even in the city, I was like saying hi, have a nice day. Like, it's crazy. Like, you bring like this open upstate, like happy mentality down there. And some people look at you like you have 3 heads. They're like, we don't do that down here. We don't just keep going.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, just keep going. But like, I love that everything's so accessible. I can find vegan restaurants nearby. Like, stuff is good. You know, you've got all these crazy like historical hotels. You've got this beautiful blend of like history and modern, like as modern as you can ever want it to be, right? All at the same time, and it's all in the same city. But at the same time, it's just like, it's crazy and it's dirty, and like every other block you smell pee. And like, we got to be honest about it. That's how it is, man.
You're totally right, man. I've been in New York City quite a bit, living on East Coast, family on the border of Jersey and New York. Old job took me to New York City to train people. It sucks.
Oh yeah,
I don't get it. like I'm just gonna say this, like if you like New York City, that's great. If that appeal is for you, that's great. But cities like that are overwhelming in a way to me that is just there's too much to do here, and none of it I am interested in for the most part.
Yeah. I mean,
and like the things I am interested in are the things that are expensive. Well, and I don't want to do that.
That's an interesting thing that I kind of like looked at when I was down there. I was like, oh, I love coming down here for specific things. Like when I have things in mind, it's almost like when I go shopping. Like I have a thing in mind that I want to accomplish, right? And I'm gonna go do that. But then I want to go home. You know, I want to go home and say, all right, the rest of you can have your skyscrapers. And I think something that makes me a little bit uneasy is just like how aware I am now of people living on top of people. Because we don't have that as much up here yet. We do. There's condos, right? Like they exist, right? But we don't have as much people living on top of people up here. It's
I'm
still
the top
a
floor of my apartment.
Yeah. So like, especially in New York City, like it's just hundreds of floors in some of these buildings. Like they're insane. You know, like we were on the 10th floor of the Hotel St. James, right? I do want to add to the Hotel St. James. Holland was convinced that it was going to be like the hotel from The Shining. She was convinced like there was something going on. But once again, some people are more intuitive. You know, some people are more connected to the spiritual world.
You know what 1408 is, right?
Yeah, it's the movie.
Well, it's because 1 + 4 + 8 = 13, and 13 is the devil's number.
That's so dumb.
Or something like that. But yeah, it's a movie with Samuel L. Jackson and John Cusack.
They're like, it was 13 the whole time. You didn't do math. Yeah. The secret to this twist was math. Why would you know how I know that's the devil? He made you do math. Gotcha. Made you do math. No. All these dead people I've been seeing and math. No, that's
double lose.
Fuck that. Yeah. Yeah, man. Sleep Token was amazing. I'm still decompressing, as you can tell. Like the beginning of season 3, here we are. We got this gumbo going. Here, I threw Sleep Token into the pot. What do you got for me?
Well, I technically this is my jam, but I wanted to talk about it anyways.
Oh.
Because I want to talk about more than what we normally would talk about a jam.
Odie, why are you holding up a bunch of linen shirts? Linen shirts are your jam this week?
Yeah, I have all these linen shirts.
This visual podcast that we have. Look at those linen shirts. Oh, wow, those are going to look great on you this summer.
Yeah, of course they are. But no, my actual Baldur's Gate 3. All right.
Oh, yeah, talk to me about it.
Yeah, look, this game
that just came out, didn't it?
Like October.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I mean,
it came out a while ago.
Yeah. Now I got this for my partner Nate for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand how they could play it for like 10 hours straight and not get bored.
Yeah.
I was like kind of impressed by it. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like in that 10 hours that you've played Baldur's Gate with your attention span, like I can't do that. Like, you know, like 10 hours is a long time to dedicate to anything.
Yeah. I have had other games that I could play for that length of time. Keep going, though.
I have not. But, except for maybe raids on Destiny. But anyways, so they did a couple playthroughs. You've definitely
played Destiny for over 10 hours before.
Yeah, but I'm playing with like 5 other people, so there's conversation and hanging out and stuff. It's a little different.
Yeah.
A little different. But anyways, I concede. But anyways, yeah, they did a couple playthroughs. I saw glimpses of it. They talked about it with our DM and his girlfriend when we go to do our D&D nights. And I just like wasn't super interested. I was also kind of in the process of starting Magnum Opus and everything.
Yeah. You didn't have time.
To say, after playing D&D, our campaign came to an end, and we're kind of like
this was the fastest campaign ever.
Yeah, it was.
I can't get over how fast you guys are going with D&D. Like I'm like I don't know how you get that much done.
Well, it was mainly just to get me kind of like acquainted more with the mechanics and stuff because my campaign is what we were kind of working towards, and it's going to be a lot longer.
Okay.
So, but anyways, I finally decided to play it because was done with D&D.
A little BG3 time.
Yeah, it was. I'm in a groove now with my process for videos, so I was like, I can afford to take a couple nights off because now I've kind of like sped things up where I don't need 5 days to work on videos anymore.
Yeah.
And so, I started playing.
Yep.
And it's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
It's the most like immersive, story-driven D&D on the screen game I have ever seen, and it's probably now in my top 3 of like best games I've ever played. I'm not even done with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it because you fell in love with a Starion and you want to make love to a sexy vampire man? Is that what's going on?
Yes. Wait.
Perfect. What about Shadowheart? Do you love Shadowheart?
Okay, so Shadowheart's my
Karlach?
favorite.
Do you love? I'm just gonna start listing off the characters. Here's
name them all. I'll tell you.
Here's what's funny about this. So, before Baldur's Gate 3 came out last year, D&D and Magic the Gathering launched a like co-developed second round of D&D cards for Magic the Gathering with all of those characters: Lae'zel, Shadowheart, Karlach. Oh my God, Astarion,
Will, Gale, Halsin.
Yep, all of them. All of them. They're all in there.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But so they did that. So like when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, I was like, oh hey, it's all the cards. Look at it. I know those cards.
Look, I think so. You mentioned all the companions. There's a bunch, and they all are different classes in D&D.
Yeah, because you're building a party.
Yeah, and I'm playing as a monk, which is super fun. I love
a monk.
monks.
I have a shaved head. I'm just monking
basically
it out,
you're in a linen shirt. You're almost there.
A mantra.
You're almost a monk, baby.
I am a monk, baby.
Yeah, and you fight with your fists. So
I do.
Yeah,
straight up, Shaolin. Here we go.
But the companions are what make this game so interesting, because not only, one's a wizard, one's a paladin, one's a cleric, one's a fighter, one's a barbarian, whatever.
So they function differently.
Yeah, so depending on how you want to play your campaign in terms of fighting and in terms of story, because on top of just, having them for fighting purposes, there's all the stories intertwined as you play through. And so what I've enjoyed probably the most about this game, and I think anybody that either A, likes D&D, or B, maybe is interested in D&D but you've never gotten into it, or even 3, you just like games that allow you to do a lot and make a lot of decisions, kind of like Fallout but on a whole nother level. This game does that really well, because depending on who you romance, depending if you want to be evil, depending if you want to be good, depending on who you help, who you talk to, if you say the wrong thing, it like impacts everything as you go. And it's so tightly like weaved that you don't feel like you see what your decision caused, but it feels so organic with the way the story is going that like it's just so tightly weaved that like every decision you make, it just makes sense when you get to the impact of it.
Oh yeah,
like it fits so perfectly. So it's phenomenal.
That is phenomenal.
I really enjoy it.
Good.
So
good. I'm super happy for it. I love that you're getting into D&D. Now here's a funny thing about D&D from my perspective. Okay. Because I'm like a newer dungeon master. Like I would actually still consider myself a new school dungeon master, right? A new school game master, a GM, a DM. I'm new school, but
with the BM.
But I will have been playing as of the end of this year for a decade.
Yeah,
like I have a decade worth. I didn't even realize that I have a decade worth of fantasy role-playing experience under my belt at the end of this year. Not only that, 2 marriages started at my table.
Oh, yeah.
2 separate marriages have started at my table. I'm just going to say it might be a little magical touch of the DM. Might be some of that story. Story crafting can bring people together, A lot of people ask each other out at the movies. My first girlfriend I asked out during Return of the King. That's the kind of nerd I am. Classy.
Yeah.
Classy.
Hell yeah.
Very classy.
Hell yeah.
That's a classy move.
Very classy.
We sat separately from my other
Clink.
friends. I made my other nerd friends watch Return of the King together while I sat with her.
And held hands.
and then I asked her out because we saw Return of the King together. It was great.
Because you held hands.
Because we held hands. Well, yeah. So anyway... but no, like so I've got 10 years worth of D&D experience and knowledge under my belt. I went through and I got into it around the time that Critical Role was just Critical Role started, I think, the year after I got into D&D. And for me, D&D first started because a coworker of mine at a restaurant and I, on slow nights, especially in the off season, because you got your on season where you're super busy, you don't have time to do anything, and then you got your slow nights in the off season, right? Yeah. On the slow nights in the off season, specifically Tuesdays, John and I would call that D&D night. Now, John is an amazing story writer, D&D DM. Like, John's been my DM and been phenomenal. I love John as a DM. And John introduced it to me, and I was like, hey, could you, like, calculate the dice rolls in your head? Like, you kind of know probability and, like, what my class is and stuff like that. So we could just, like, we can play without dice. We'll just do the thing. And, like, you tell me what's going on. You give me the prompt, and then I'll careen the adventure. By the time we had been doing this for a few months, right? By the time that it had been about 2 to 3 months, we had, like, 5 people in the restaurant in on it. Like, we were playing D&D and running a functioning restaurant at the same time. I don't recommend that people try to replicate this. You might lose your job. I never, like, there were a couple moments where I'm like, are we getting a little too much into the D&D thing? Like, are we maybe like doing a disservice to our guests here? But no, like, I honestly, there was never a moment where I forgot about anything because I was doing D&D stuff. But it was really fun, and it gave me a good idea of how to play. So then a friend came up to me and was like, hey, I want to do a D&D campaign. This was like 2017. So a couple years later. No, 2016. So a couple years later, I've got a friend who's like, hey, 2016? Yeah, 2016. I want to do this D&D campaign. Will you play? And I'm like, yeah, I'm in. And then I get a call later. Hey, we don't have anybody who knows how to be a dungeon master. Do you think you could be the dungeon master? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. You know how I am. I'm just figure it out. Let's do it, right? Yeah, somebody's like, hey, you want to do a podcast? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. We'll figure it out. And then I write a theme song, and we do the whole thing. Then I become a captain.
Like 2 years.
And then we've been doing it for a year and change. So we start up this campaign, and I can't stress enough to people how much of a fun hobby it is, and how it's a creative, immersive, cooperative environment. Like, it's like anything else that people do, and I know it's not exactly the same as, like, going to your beer league softball team, or going and bowling once a week, or going and playing poker, but, like, it's very similar to those things, because when you're there, like, a lot of our identities in society are performative already. Like, you show people, different portions, different shades of yourself. Like, let's say that they're like cones of influence, right? Like, you have different cones of yourself that have, like, portions of your personality. If you combine all of them, you have the 360 view of who you are, right? But not everybody's going to get every piece of that pie, Like, so very similar to how you might be showing off your. I love using bowling as an example because people do have bowling leagues and they take them very seriously. You might have a very competitive nature and a very analytical side, and that comes out. And, like, maybe you like organizing events, so, like, that's who you are for your bowling league. Or you play indoor soccer, right? And on your team, you're the defender, and people rely on you. And, like, maybe you're not like an integral part of, like, gathering the team together, but you help motivate people when you're on the field. That's a portion of your personality. You're performing, and it's the same thing in D&D, but we take that portion of the personality that we want to use to perform, and then we either challenge it by adding other bits to a character that we're creating, or we let that personality, and why most people get attached to their first character, like, very attached to their first
Keep going,
character.
I'm listening.
We allow that part of our personality to just shine through entirely. And as we develop out these characters, we become attached to them because they are part of us. And although they're living out an adventure that we never would, we are making decisions both as them, and with them, right? So at the same time that you're kind of putting yourselves in the shoes of this fictitious character, you're bringing in aspects of yourself. And then if you're doing it correctly, you'll get immersed, you'll get attached to the character, you'll care about what happens in combat. You'll care about if you have a scar or not,
Oh, yeah.
And then there's so many amazing moments that happen that are just comical and silly. Everybody thinks that not everybody. There's a lot of people that still think D&D is like roll for damage, roll for this, roll for that. Rolling is like, if I personally think if if you're doing it right, rolling is always in the right amount. And some tables are math nerds, and they're all about min-maxing their archetypes and playing and doing the combat and stuff, and they're dungeon crawling, and I love that, and I respect them. That is not me. I don't do that. I can try to do it, but it will inevitably become silly. That is how we D&D. D&D is fun, and we bring in
it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and we bring in all these different things. There's economies, there's cities, and like the DM is like building this stuff up and essentially giving you the scenery to play with, and then helping you to drive the story. And you tell these amazing stories together while adding bits of yourself to them and creating these stories that like I hope that people always remember. Like we have so many moments that have already happened over the course of the past 10 years of playing that like I'll remember for the rest of my life. I'll tell them as stories when I know someone else is into like TTRPGs or gaming or anything like that, and it goes in that realm. You want to tell that story, you know. You want to be like, this one time in our D&D campaign, you know, like. There's so many people that want to tell the story. The best place to tell that is a convention, because sometimes you'll just lose people. But
oh god,
but it's such a good hobby, and I still have friends, like, even though, like, I say the greatest monster in all of D&D is maturity. Like, maturity and responsibility, like, growing up is the great monster of D&D, because your group eventually can't meet as much because you have responsibilities and real world stuff. And in my groups, we always said real life comes first, was always what I said to people when they messaged me and they're like, hey, I'm really sorry I can't make it this week. Can we do blank, blank, blank? If their character was important, here's a fun thing that I did. Wow, I've been talking a lot. Do you have anything to add to what I was saying there, Odie?
You're on a roll. Just keep it going.
Okay, here's a fun thing that I did to solve that problem. I made a separate island on the world that I had created, like, because we were homebrew D&D in, like, a world that I created called Tarath. I made a separate island where everybody had a secondary character that existed, and if we ever had somebody who couldn't make it that was crucial to the storyline, we would go to that second island, which I call, and I had a note document. I think I still have it in my phone. The adventure on that island was called Side Quest Shuffle. And it was all side quest stuff. There was never a main plot line to be tied in, and like it was all silly all the time, like really fun. So like even on a night where like 2 or 3 people couldn't make it out of the 6 to 8 people that I eventually had playing at my table, like we still could go somewhere in that world and just immerse ourselves for a while and escape for a little bit and be in it, right? And that kind of stuff, that Baldur's Gate, Skyrim, Final Fantasy VII, like a lot of these epic things where you get immersed, they end up like 10 hours flies by. You know, it's magic. That's the real magic.
I mean, yeah. No, I think you're right though. I mean, I think the best part about D&D, I've only been playing for a few months, but I think you hit it perfectly. I mean, the best part about it is not only do you get to kind of live a little bit through the adventure, but you also have created someone that is also going through the adventure. Yeah. And as somebody who's about to DM after this one shot that we're doing,
is it properly a one shot? Is it properly a one shot?
It's a Call of Cthulhu one shot. Yeah.
Is it one session?
Yeah, because then we're taking 3 sessions off before mine starts. Okay. And now, given mine is a book, it's a pre-written campaign. I'm not building the story from scratch.
Oh, which one?
So if I'm not ready. Tyranny of Dragons.
Okay.
And then leading into Rise of Tiamat.
Okay.
But eventually, I would like to build my own world kind of thing. I'm actually working on that kind of in the interim. Yeah. But I think for me, what I am most excited about is to be the guide for all these people to go through a story. Mm-hmm. I am most looking forward to that. And I think as much as I had fun playing a character in D&D, I feel like my personality and the way that I've always loved telling stories, I think that I am better suited to be a DM.
Really?
Personally. Yeah.
All right.
I think I will enjoy it more.
I can see it. DMing is a crazy thing to take on, right? And there's all the jokes about the DM who's like preparing last minute. And I've definitely had those moments where I thought I had everything prepared, and then like the day of, I was like, wait, hold on.
Hold on.
I've been struck by inspiration. We're scrapping all of those notes. No, you know what I would do is I would always bring my notes that I had made the previous week, even if I like was prepared to scrap most of them because they did prove necessary. But DMing it's a really interesting thing because you're not only a storyteller, you're kind of an author, right? You're a creator in many ways, but you're also in many ways you are a player. You're just playing all of these other characters that rely on your players at the table, the real players and their characters, in order to have any sort of stake in the world, right? Until your players encounter them, they're essentially just out in the world existing. Now, if you're doing it correctly, you're calculating where they are and what they're doing, right? But at the same time, like, they don't matter unless they're with the party.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
D&D is such an interesting thing, and this year they're actually a really interesting, so they're doing the new player's manual, right? That's coming out soon. It's called D&D 1 or 1 D&D, right? One little caveat I'll give to that, or no, one little bit of commentary to that. Anytime a new edition comes out, there's good things and bad things. So,
of course.
I am prepared to hear about all the things that suck about it first, and then later have people going, "Oh, well, these things were actually good the entire time." Now, there are some people who've switched over to Pathfinder systems, and now there's anybody who's into role playing games. There's multiple systems. Matt Colville and Cobalt Press have their system that they released, right? And then there's also Critical Role has their own system as well. Well, they have two now. They have their one. It's kind of Cthulhu-esque. I forget what it is. It's relatively like steampunk / magic. Candela Obscura. I got it. Yeah, they've got that, and then they also have Daggerheart. They are super popular, and I honestly feel like with Pathfinder, my buddy Drew, shout out to Drew, has the Epic of Dreams, which is a settings agnostic, if you want it to be dice free style of gameplay. And between all these other options, I really feel like we're going to end up having a new dialogue over the course of the next few years as these things morph into, oh yeah, I TTRPG, right? Or like I RPG with my friends. You don't have to put the TT, like a lot of times we know it's tabletop. But TTRPG is the full, that's the full definition. But I think in the future you're going to have people going, "Oh yeah, I TTRPG." And then like people will be like, "Oh cool, which one?" Which setting are you doing? And Call of Cthulhu, I know you guys are doing the one shot for it. That's actually super popular. I've done 5 different Call of Cthulhu, like single shots, like little one night campaigns. Yeah, like little one shots.
One shot.
I've done those like multiple times with a good friend of ours, Tim. Tim is also another phenomenal DM. I'm very lucky. I have a lot of good DMs around me. But Tim will do Call of Cthulhu, and I love each one kind of like plays into its own thing. Like Call of Cthulhu has this ancient mythos about it. So one thing that plays into it, and it's an element of Lovecraftian storytelling, is that you have a sanity level, and you can go insane. And then you roll for the consequences of that insanity, which is great.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's going to be very fun.
Oh my God, it's so much. Call of Cthulhu is one of my favorite things. I always tend to I lean into like this like caricature from like the 1920s or 30s.
That's
that
the
I'm
era
playing,
we're doing.
Yeah,
1920s.
Yeah.
I'm from Boston.
Yeah, so you just kind of lean into like a caricature character. It gets very cartoony in the beginning, but then as things get more serious, it's fun. Yeah, dude, TTRPGs are the jam. So I'm glad you brought up
What is your jam?
My jam, since we're doing long jam. I mean, my jam is Sleep Token, baby. My jam is Sleep Token. It was Sleep Token.
Your jam is Sleep Token?
Yeah, from the get-go. Like, I've still been jamming them. I woke up today and was like, wow, that was such a great show. I would say my favorite song by them ever is Dark Signs. It's just an amazing song. And when they play it live, it's, like, freaking perfect. It never gets too heavy. Like, it's very, like, it's just good songwriting, like all in all, and it builds and builds and builds until the very end of the song. And there's like, there's a run-on chant that comes back, like, just absolutely phenomenal. I was so glad they played it last night. And when they add the actual backup singers live, it's just a whole other level, man. So yeah, my jam this week is Sleep Token, and then I would also throw down as a TV jam. I'm catching up on My Hero Academia right now.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
I am like so far behind on anime, and I don't have enough time to catch up in a reasonable amount of time. But I did start watching. What was it? Season 5 again? Season 6 maybe? Whatever it is.
Season 6 is the new one, I believe.
Okay.
It's coming. That should be airing now.
Okay, so season 5. I went back a couple episodes, and I'm watching like the big fight with Shigaraki and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really really good though, and I've really been loving getting back into that. Another thing that I'll point out as we wrap this up. A lot of anime shirts in NYC. I was very happy. Like, like
there's a big anime shop in NYC.
When I was in my early 20s, like you would like quietly go up to somebody and be like if you were talking about something, they'd be like, "Oh, what were you watching yesterday?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, well, I watch anime." Like you would say it like that, and see if like it was almost like a litmus test to see if the person was cool with it, right? And it was still so subcultural that people would be like, "Oh my God, me too. Let's talk about it." Like that's how D&D was like 10 years ago. Like people are like, I play D&D. But so many people just walking around with like Akira and Naruto and like popular anime shirts. Like it really makes me happy how much of the things that I would say we've had as subcultures for like nerdy people have just continued to like rise up into popular culture. Anime, D&D, Magic the Gathering, like these things that are coming into their own in this new era of pop culture. I'm really, really loving.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's being driven by social media. Like it's becoming more because the more common it is of people who like cosplay. Like we're going to a Ren Fair in June out here.
Go to a Ren Fair too. You
should come out and go with us. It's also going to be here in August.
I can't go in June.
August.
Maybe.
Oh wait, no. Fuck. Anyways, but yeah. Because I have a bachelor party and then a wedding and then another party 3 weekends out of August.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah. No, I'm very pleased that I'm finally enjoying it after all these years of not. Like I was never openly against it. I never really cared. I just was like I was always not for me, right?
Yep.
But now for me, 100%.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. I love Ren Fairs, and like I definitely want to go to one soon, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, man. Well, that's it for the beginning of season 3. A little bit of gumbo, a little bit of chaos. We're getting into it. What are we talking about next week, Odie? You don't have to know the answer.
Furioso.
Oh, yeah, we are talking about Furioso.
We just talked about that.
That's going to be good. That's going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right, cool. I'm going to the gym in my nice little shirt. I'm going to go lift weights in this.
I'm going to go eat my dinner that was delivered 10 minutes ago.
Ahoy. Avast.
Ahoy.
Yar.
Yar.
Where's my Albatross? Get the fuck over here, Albatross. I love an albatross.